As every event, every video, every content, we must begin with the most painful of all, which is the disclaimer. We need to let people know that all our content is for informational, educational, and entertainment purpose only. No one at Crypto Vagabonds across any platform is to be considered financial or tax advisor. Therefore, everything you produce is just our opinion. Now, this event occurs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. CET. And that is what time is Eastern time? Anyway, 7 p.m. CET is when that occurs, Monday to Friday. We are in Clubhouse at 1300 CET. Also going to find our content on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, about 2 or 3 videos every week on YouTube. And we are fading away from Facebook. Again, no financial nor tax advice. Now, everyone in the crypto space is known for some sort of expertise, and I'm known as a risk-averse guy. And the reason why is because if there's a doubt, there is no doubt. If I do have a doubt about a project, there's no doubt I'm not going forward with that. So today the presentation is pretty much a breakdown of a book, which I suggest everyone here to read it, which is The Anatomy of the State. So we're going to break down a few highlights of the book for you guys today. And the roadmap of the presentation is, we're going to first mention, is the same roadmap as well as in the book. Of course, not the whole book is here, but most like highlights are here. The first part of the book talks about what the state isn't or what the state is not. And of course, on the second chapter of the book, then it goes into what the state is. Then it starts to talk about the function of the state. And then we go to what the state fears. So let's see what the state is not. The state is not you. We are not the state. That's the first lesson that is on the book, the first chapter. And the reason why we have to, it seems to be obvious that we are not the state, but the state has many ways in making you believe that the state is you, right? So how it operates. The state gets, how the state operates, the state first gets into a debt, sells your future work, negotiates your future production in the market, and with that debt, it builds something that will benefit only a few members of the state, and the state does that all without your consent. Now, how does the state get away with that? It has to convince you that you are the state or is doing things for your benefit. So if we are the state, then we are in debt to ourselves. But who is in debt? The state, and who is the state, right? Now, easy to see who wins on the state. So whoever wins with the acquisition of debt on the state, whoever benefits from the debt that the state gets into is a small group of people, and you are not part of that group. So the state is not you in that sense. And another example, let's say you do not pay your taxes and the state then seizes your property and incarcerates you. If you are the state, then you arrest yourself and you confiscate your property. Of course, that doesn't make sense, but the state does push that idea that we are the state with something called democracy, which is a facade. Now, what is democracy? On the point of view from the state, it is a way to legitimize the state structures where others benefit as results of your work, but not you. So what you produce becomes the state's property, and your country becomes your property on the view of we are the state, we are the people, we are the nation. Whenever we're saying that, we are saying we are the state. So if we are not the state, then what is the state? The state is an organization that has as main goal to achieve monopoly over a nation territory. So now what kind of monopoly? The state is the only organization that has monopoly of violence. So what is a state? Is a group of people claiming power or power of influence over a territory. And what power? The power to exercise violence, the power to have exclusive monopoly on violence. So with that, the state now is in a position that is able to make money without producing anything. There is no product or service being provided by the state that you pay for. The state literally produces nothing, but because it has the monopoly on violence, now it can benefit from your work. Another example of that monopoly on violence, the state is the only one that can attack you, and we, mere mortals, we are not allowed to attack the state, and we are also not allowed to attack each other. So only the state has the ability to initiate violence without any precedent, without any consequence. So, and of course, the state pulls that, is able to do that because it is doing for the people, because you and I are the state, we are the people, we are the nation. So whenever you embrace patriotism, you are one way or another pretty much saying that you agree that you are the state as well. So you're giving that power because the representative, whoever represents the nation, whoever represents the people, those are the individuals that are part of the state. Those are the ones that are going to benefit from your work, but not you. So the state depletes, right? Since the state cannot produce anything, they have to take from those who have produced something. So basically, if you produce something, you are being punished by the state. The more you produce, the more the state wants to take from you. And of course, that is done via taxation. And the state can only do that because it is unable to produce anything. So the state also protects itself, right? If you know that your resources are being stolen, you produce ways or look for ways to protect that. The same way the state needs to protect whatever is bringing money into the state. The state also destroys. It is a parasite that you eventually grow so big and it will destroy its host. And you have seen examples of that in Venezuela. We have seen examples of that in North Korea. We have seen examples of that in many other communist Germany. There's a point where the state grows so big that eventually destroys the parasite, or it has to shrink itself before killing the parasite, before killing the host. So the state is the parasite and keeps on growing until it destroys the host. So eventually, in some cases, like in New Zealand, the state shrinks before killing the host. So what is the function of the state? Most people believe that the state provides healthcare, education, and safety. And they also believe that the main function of the state is to regulate the economy. That's what most people believe. But again, the state does not do any of those things. What the state actually does, the state is a parasite that lives off of somebody else's work. Providing healthcare, the monopoly on education, and providing something called safety or regulating the economy are tools that a state needs to maintain us under the state, to maintain the process where the state can actually continue taking money from us. Those are not reasons for the state to exist. Those are the reasons that enable the state to continue to exist. So when we make requests from the state to educate, to provide safety, or anything else, what we're doing is we are asking individuals who do not have our best interests at heart, and they are not competent to provide those things, and they're not held accountable for the consequences of ill delivery or mal-delivering our requests. So when you ask the state to educate your child, you are asking a group of individuals who do not have the best interest to provide the best education to your child, nor are going to be held accountable for the quality of education that your child is receiving. So that's what we do whenever we ask the state to do anything else for us, that be education, security, whatever. Whenever you ask the state to deliver something to you, you're asking those who are not competent to do it, nor have the interest to deliver the best service to you. So the state is not about you. The state is about living off of you, how they can extract value from you. So in that sense, the state is predatory. It just sucks in and doesn't deliver anything in return. It does not produce anything, but rather steal resources from those who are engaged in production via something called taxation. One way in which they steal that. The other ways, the state then have to engage into propaganda to induce popular support from its policies. So what the state does is offers policies that gives more power to them and undermine your sovereignty, but they do this with a propaganda as if they were selling you a benefit. So why does the state provide education? And this is actually something you can research. The state does teach the population because once they provide you the education to your children, they are telling your children how and what to think, how to obey, and also how to kill. That's one part people don't get it. The moment when the state took care or decided to get monopoly on education, the main reason was to defend the country, was to create a feeling of patriotism and to create obedience towards the government. And that was in Prussia. And they were very successful in creating an educational system where the main message was defend the country, become a patriot. And of course, that enables then you to tell those kids to go to war for you. Now, the same thing for the economy. Why does the state regulate the economy? The state regulates the economy, right, for the benefit that can be given to certain partners. So once the state has a possibility to interfere in the economy, now we're going to have companies that will be paying the politicians, and therefore they're going to get monopolies on their companies or laws that enable those companies to become powerful and monopolize everything. They're not meant to protect the individual consumer. These regulations enable the state to have higher value to companies that can create or has an intent of requesting from the state the creation of policies that benefit them. So things are not built or made to help the population. Those things are built to keep power and money in the control of a few hands or a few individuals. That's basically the main function of the state, especially when regarding the interference on the economy. Now, you must ask yourself, if that's the state, you must ask yourself, how can an organization of this type sustain itself? And the answer is very simple, by just continue exploiting everyone within their umbrella. So then you have to ask, what does the state fears the most? As everything else, as everything that lives, it fears its end. It fears its death. That's pretty much what the state is very afraid of. So in which ways the state can end? If you remove the people who are in power and remove that power from them, right? Or remove them from power. That's one way in which they can end it. So the state then has the obligation to say, I'm protecting the population, but in fact, the state is just protecting itself and is using you, mere mortal civilians, to protect itself, so continue to have this monopoly. So another thing people need to understand is, like, if the army or anyone breaks a contract with you, if the state fails to provide something which was promised to you, or if the state fails to deliver an expectation which has set for you, nothing will ever happen to the state. Now, the other way around doesn't work. If you break a contract or you do not deliver an expectation that the state has on you, the same thing will not apply. Something will happen, and that is for the army, for the police, for whatever service provided by the state. Even if you become a member of the army, the obligations that the army may have towards you once you're a soldier, they can break that at any time, but you can never break whatever commitment you have towards them. So the end of the state can come about in different ways, right? Another state come in where another group of individuals come in and overtake the power from the people that are running your state. It can also happen from within, a revolution, people organize and take people out of the power. Another way, which I think is the most successful one, and we haven't experienced that yet, which is come a point where the state becomes obsolete and useless, a moment where the population realizes the state is obsolete. That's another way in which it can end. We haven't seen that yet. So a little recap, right? We saw what the state is not. The state is not you. We saw what the state is a parasite that lives off you. We saw what is the function of the state, is to continue having you as a host for them. And what they fear mostly their end. And they will do whatever they need to do to preserve themselves, the same way that any living organism will do whatever it is necessary to keep themselves alive. So with that, this again, if you want to find out more about this, read the book, The Anatomy of the State. These things are going to be much more broken down in more detail on that book. And here's the end of the presentation. Again, if you need coaching, if you want to have more education, feel free to join the Academy or contact us how to do it. If you want to interact with me more regularly, there's Clubhouse Monday to Friday, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And with that, it's done a presentation. I hand the floor to you guys, and I'm here to answer your questions.